Welcome back to RNT Fitness Radio, and today I'm joined by fellow RNT'er Raj Shah, who's done exceptionally well over the past 8 months, completely transforming his body and changing his life in the process. Raj first came to us to achieve a lifelong goal of getting lean and revealing his abs, despite having tried for 15 years. 5 months into his journey, he'd got his six-pack and completed a photo shoot. Since then, he's successfully consolidated, moved to an investment phase, and in this episode, he shares very candidly about his story, his struggles, and the insights he's developed through his journey. What started off as purely a physical goal has evolved into a complete mindset change, whether he's at the gym, at work, or at home with his family and 2 young girls. We've also released his case study too to showcase his transformation, so be sure to check out the show notes to read his case study. I hope you enjoy this one. Let's start by talking about your hair. Tell us about the ponytail, the Cristiano Ronaldo look, and how it's transformed since January.
I don't think I've had a proper haircut since I started with you guys in December. I'm just, you know what, it's when you go back and you see your school friends or people your age, right? And I'm 34. And you see that some people are losing their hair, you're like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this. So I'm sort of saying, you know, to having hair is a blessing right now. So let's just keep going with it. But no one likes it. No one likes it at home. My daughter likes it because she likes to do my hair, but that's about it. So let's see how long I go with it.
Just so the listeners know, he's got a ponytail in front of me.
And an undercut.
And
I'm 34. Yeah.
And on the day of his photo shoot, he came in with a hairband.
With a hairband, yeah. So, I'm different. You'll see I'm different. I don't do things the normal way. But yeah, let's just go with it. Let's see how long it lasts.
Brilliant. So you mentioned a photo shoot there, and we're recording this at the end of June, and it's now been probably over 8 weeks now.
8 weeks.
8 weeks into it. But you've been working with us since December 2018.
Right, and it was first week December.
Yeah, pretty much just before the Christmas period hit, which is usually quite a tricky time to start. But I remember you being pretty on it. I was looking back over some of the emails today, and straight after Christmas, there wasn't really much of an issue over the Christmas period for you.
I recognised. Obviously, I was following RNT'er as you do, and you stalk the website for the content, the great content you guys put out. And, Insta, you guys were coming up on the Insta a lot. So I just said to myself, right, if we're going to do this, and I can start December, I keep myself accountable over the Christmas period. And if I can get through Christmas successfully, then, that sets me up quite nicely for 2019. That was I remember I said to you in an email, I said to you, look, I know you guys are going to be busy post-Christmas because everyone wants to get in shape, standard things that people come up with in the New Year resolution. I said, I want to start now. Let's get accountable now. And that's what we did. And the first honeymoon bit of that was just trying to tick as many boxes and getting used to the whole program. That was the reason.
And how did you find implementing so many new habits at that time where you're being asked to go out for drinks, you've got work dues, you've got dinners, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, etc.?
I think I rolled into December with again the view that I'm not drinking. And I think I'd stopped drinking anyway November. So that was easy. And telling people I'm not drinking is annoying because you keep getting asked, why is there not a drink? Why are you drinking Diet Coke? And you just tell them, I just don't want to drink. Or in the end, they stop asking. But that was the hard bit. And the food, particularly around where in the office where I am, and you've got people bringing stuff in every day and you're like looking at it, that was the hardest thing initially to get over. And fortunately for me, I didn't have too many work dues come through Christmas. But it was just a mind shift change. For me, it wasn't. I remember emailing you in the first few weeks, if you've seen this or you remember, and like many clients from, when I'm listening to podcasts, they said, this is too much food.
Yeah.
I was like, the rice. I go, mate, this rice, are you sure?
Yeah.
Is it 40 grams uncooked?
Yeah.
It was a standard question, right? And it was loads of rice. And I was thinking, and you were telling me, wait, you're going to be craving this, begging me for the rice. I said, okay, we'll see. Yeah, lo and behold, I was begging for that rice come week 7 or 8. But it wasn't difficult. Initially, doing the training was, well, actually, no. The food was a lot to take on. Going to the gym and following a set program that you had given me was new to me.
Okay. What were you doing in the past?
I would walk in the gym. I would say, what do I feel like doing today? I don't fancy legs because that's just too much work. Let's just do a bit of chest and back or arms. Or I'm going out tonight, so let's do arms. Or, it's a standard sort of male kind of outlook on what to do in the gym. And then, I'm going to admit this right now, yeah? I'd see someone doing something on the machine or doing something with a dumbbell or a barbell. I go, that was pretty interesting. But let me try and do it when they're not looking so they know that I'm not just copying their set. And you just pick things up from watching people. And it was just going in and trying to do 6 to 8 sets or something and spending an hour with no real focus, and to be honest, and let's be real, no tracking, no tracking of anything whatsoever, which was completely different. I think I spent the first week in the gym programming my Strong app to what you had given me, so that was the only difference, was actually doing a set program and routine that you'd given me and getting used to some of those lifts that I hadn't done before, and taking on that. The food that you laid out.
How long have you been training for before this? How long have you been doing these guesstimation workouts?
Let's say A-level.
Oh, okay.
A-level time when, boys in school book an A-level summer holiday and you're like, we're going to Tenerife, let's get ripped for the beach. It was Tenerife. And I remember going into the gym A-level year, couldn't even barely lift the 20 kilo Olympic bar off, on the chest press. I was a skinny boy, but I started then, went to uni, fell off in freshers because you just eat and drink whatever, comes your way. Towards the end of uni, started training again properly, and then on and off, got married, got injured, and then just really yo-yoed weight-wise, or what my wife likes to say, yo-yoing and fluctuating. And I had a side of the wardrobe that looked really good, and I felt good about myself. And then you yo-yo, and then you keep those clothes because you're trying to tell yourself you'll get back to that weight. And it was a lot of that. So I was training on and off. And I think, when we talk about the why, it was just before my first daughter was born that I really wanted to start losing the weight, and I wanted to stop yo-yoing. Just wanted to stop fluctuating and just really focus now.
So what did you do?
So sort of at what I would say my worst, I was about 77, 78 kilos. And that just came about of just eating a lot and not training, and not focusing on what I was doing at all. And I remember we went away on, one of my friends got married in Thailand, and we were in Seminyak or somewhere, and we were at a bar, beach. I had my tea. It was standard things. It's a wake-up call. Went on my phone, looked at these pictures, and I said, "Shit!" I had those cheeks. And this was November. My daughter was due in end of Jan, and I said to myself, I can't look back in 20 years at myself, at my baby pictures. So one of the big things you do, as if you've had kids or, your newborn kids, is you do these photo shoots and you start taking loads and loads of pictures. And I didn't want to look back in 10, 15, 20 years at myself and go, man, I should have been in better shape. So that was the real first wake up why kind of thing that kind of got my arse in gear. And there was a London to Paris ride in 2016. I already did London to Paris in 2010. I did London to Paris again, so I got into shape for that. 300 miles over 4 days, all the training that went with that. So that helped me lose weight. And I got down to about 72 in about a year and a half. But I still was saying to myself, you know what? Like, aesthetically, I look good in clothes, but I don't have a 6-pack or an 8-pack. Am I ever going to get that? And I had no education about food or training at all. I was just exactly doing what I was doing in the gym and eating basically what I wanted to eat. And I really thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to get that? And could I get that? But it was always in the back of my mind. And then that's when I kind of thought, you know what? Let's take the plunge with you guys in December. And I had some things leading up to that I had to get out of the way. And then, I wanted something to focus on. And that was my goal, was to do that, was to get, in the first instance, was to get the aesthetics. But actually, as we know, a lot of other things have come out that are way more important from this whole process so far than just the aesthetics.
What's been the biggest one?
For me, it's the education on food. And going back to, I was never in a bad shape where medically I was at risk of anything. But the way I'm set up genetically, I'm predisposed to particularly diabetes with family history. My dad became diabetic around the age I am, and then went on to insulin at 40. And genetics plays a heavy part in your disposition to something like that, and so does visceral fat. So whilst I didn't look fat, I was obviously skinny fat, and visceral fat, and reducing that, completely boosts your risk or your chances of not getting diabetes. So that was a big why, and it was around education for my kids. So if I'm going to be in good shape and they see their dad in good shape, they see their dad going to the gym, which my 3-year-old now is fully aware of what I do in the morning, that's surely going to have a knock-on effect. So being there for my family and my kids in particular was the biggest why, and then not falling into the traps with the way that my job and work is into what my dad did. Because, I was kind of, I would have ended up going down the road if I kept yo-yoing, fluctuating, not eating right, and all the rest of it.
At home, how have your family's habits changed as a result of your habits changing?
So the kids, my 2 kids, Lara's 3 and Mila's 10 months. Not too much, but my wife certainly. We've been away on holiday, and we've both said, and she said, I can't wait to go home and eat chicken, broccoli and brown rice. I've had enough of this food. And that is, when you're batch cooking, obviously the other half's either not going to eat it. And, in the first instance, she said, I can't believe you're just eating chicken and rice. And then when I started to play with my food in terms of mixing it up, and then you start to get a bit more inventive, she completely embraced that. And, if she's seeing, it's the typical, if she's seeing you eating something and it's doing something good to you and she can see there's a benefit. Yeah. We haven't gone down the whole macro route yet with her. Yeah. I'm trying. But you got to be careful because, during that first fat loss phase, there were times when I wasn't lecturing her, but
you're becoming that guy.
I was becoming that guy, and it pissed her off a little. So I have to learn, and I've learned to rein it back. But she's definitely picked up on certain things massively.
Speaking of macros, we were having a chat earlier on about how at the beginning you were using macros to be very experimental. Obviously now with your education you can do it.
Yeah.
But what were some of the mistakes you made at the beginning that other people listening may benefit from with regards to macros and MyFitnessPal, etc.?
So the first thing was listen to your coach. Read that email. I remember reading that email going, this guy's having a laugh. Chicken, brown rice, veggies, chicken, brown rice. And you're just thinking, no. I stuck to it. And then when we got inventive, it was dangerous. You can't walk into a supermarket and go, oh, that's healthy, I'll pick that up and try it. And what I was doing is I kept trying. People had told me, oh yeah, this works for me. Or why don't you try halloumi? Or why don't you try avocados? You would think avocado on toast in the fact that is is good, but it's not if it doesn't hit your macros. And you ended up trying to layer things in and put things in and protein bars, and it didn't work because you weren't educated enough. And I remember that I kept spilling over.
Yeah.
And the other big mistake I did was in the first few weeks, I would say the first 7 to 8 weeks, I wasn't going always by what you told me to eat. So I was trying to be inventive. And then I was turning up at home after work, not have batch cooked, and then trying to look in the fridge and say, I bought this from the supermarket. Let's just try this and see it goes, and plug it in, and then it didn't work. And then you're messing around. Then decision fatigue comes in. Then you're hungry. You're grumpy, you're moody, you're pissed that you're not getting it to work, and then you end up eating it, then you end up spilling over, and then you get even more pissed, and then you bollock me, and then I just said, you know what, let's just stick to it, let's learn it, and then we start slowly playing around with it. Because, MyFitnessPal is a game in itself, right? You can have a good time on there trying to play around and get things to work. And in the end, I got it right. But you know what? There's no harm in eating the same thing every day for breakfast, or the same thing every day, or 3-4 times a week for lunch. There's no harm in it. If you know it's good for you, there's nothing wrong with it. I think I remember reading this or hearing this on a podcast that you guys were saying to basically it's not such a bad thing to eat or create a rule around having eggs, toast, and for me it's like smoked salmon, having that every day for breakfast. It's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, that's what I do for myself. I just made a rule that my breakfast is going to be 3-4 eggs with a couple of slices of toast, no matter where I go. And it just kills. Firstly, it just kills the decisions.
Absolutely.
But it is, it's a healthy breakfast. It gives me protein, fats, and carbs. Good start to the day. And I know I can get it pretty much anywhere in the world. So especially if you travel a lot, it's easy.
It's easy. It's easy to implement. And actually, if you think about it, and I look back pre-RNT, when you're having cereals and stuff in the morning. They're not hitting any of that. You're not getting any good mix of anything from that. So yeah, exactly. Again, what you were doing on your breakfast, I kind of adopted that, and I've put smoked salmon in. Yeah. And now I'm on the reverse. I'm maybe put half an avocado in if I can make it. If I'm making it work with what I'm having for the rest of the day. But yeah, that rule around breakfast perfectly kills all that decision fatigue.
How did you? Because now you're pretty much a macro terminator on MyFitnessPal. You know how to use it, I think, very, very well, right?
Yeah.
How did you make the transition? Because that's also, I think, an important journey people make, in that they can learn about different food labels, what contains what, how to make it work on a day-to-day basis. How did you make that transition?
So using what you had laid out for me originally in terms of my diet plan, that obviously formed the base. And I'm just thinking now, I remember just having scrambled eggs in the morning, and then the chicken and rice. And there was actually oats and whey, I think, mixed in, and I was having that. That forms your base, right? And that's all, what you gave me, nutritionally or food composition-wise, is very good, and it agreed with me. Once I knew what it agreed with me and what I reacted to well, and you then start kind of coming up with your own recipes around green veggies, rice and chicken. It's like your standard kind of cut diet food. And then realizing, I needed something sweet to eat. So then I started getting, bulk ordering bloody protein bars in and trying to make them work. And then realizing actually you can't eat a whole protein bar, maybe half a protein bar. So you plug that into the app. And you just start getting educated on it. And what it became is every night before bed, I was in bed or Minna was watching TV and I'm in the living room with her and I'm on my phone or the iPad playing with MyFitnessPal. That's why I say it's a game, right? and actually lining up what I'm having the next day. And by doing that, again, you kill the decision fatigue the next day, so you're not fretting about what am I going to eat. It's already laid out for you. You just go and execute. And then building all your recipes in MyFitnessPal and just using it. And it's a great, great tool. And then it basically became, through the whole sort of second and third stage of the fat loss, to line up everything I was going to eat the night before or the day before. And that was quite a big game changer. If you don't do that, and I think, again, I remember listening to you guys, if you're walking into Sainsbury's or Tesco at 7 PM after work, trying to figure out what to eat, you have just screwed yourself right over. You just laid like a massive trap for yourself. You've got to be prepared and be organized, which is why once you've got that initial founding base, use the app, but prepare yourself and do it the night before or 2 days before and lay it out. It takes 10 minutes at night, but just do that. That for me was a massive help.
So you made that slow transition. What about that's for your day-to-day diet, but you've had quite a lot of like social events and work events, and you've always been pretty good at buffering.
Yeah.
What are some of your buffering strategies here for people that tend to fret about this? Like, I've got a work event on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not uncommon for you to have that.
Yeah.
But you had that right up to getting photoshoot lean, but it didn't really hold you back. What did you do there that went well?
So that's a good point. And I know some people up to a shoot they abstain from going out, or they don't actually, they just turn invitations down, right? Because they don't want to be in that thing. I didn't do that. For me, it was black coffee in the morning. And I remember I was training fasted as well in some of these instances when I was buffering, which towards the end was just bloody hard in terms of my rest periods got longer and longer. And I remember talking to you about that. I was taking, and I still do when I fast intermittently, take BCA. So I remember talking to you about this. So I was taking 2 scoops of that. So that's about 2 liters of water. So that with the water.
Yeah, it tastes nice, doesn't it?
Tastes nice. Tastes nice. Fills you up with the water. And by 11 o'clock, 11:30, you're already flying. It's already been 3-4 hours since you've been up, fasted. Herbal teas. So I was drinking like, obviously no milk, but something like Earl Grey, a good Earl Grey tea bag. Quality good Earl Grey tea bag. That got me through 2 to 3 cups of that. And then by 1 o'clock, 1:30, I'm kind of breaking my fast to have lunch. And then it was fine. But, again, I was always in the fat loss phase. I wasn't drinking. So I wasn't drinking from November, started with you guys in December, and then all the way up until, I would say, up to the beginning of March, I probably had 2 drinks, one on Christmas Day and one when I was away in February. And that was just a glass. That was it. So that really helped. That was a big thing. But fasting and training fasted, you have to do it. It's hard. It's just all a mindset thing.
So you had your lunch at 1 p.m. How many calories would you account for? Obviously, this depends, but as a general rule,
I follow what most people do is if I'm going to go out, so say we're going to go, so again, if I'm going out, MyFitnessPal, if I'm going to Nando's and you're trying to buffer for Nando's, I know what I'm going to eat in Nando's now. So I would lay that out in MyFitnessPal, so that would help. But if I'm going somewhere into town for a nice meal, it was always going to be the rule of thumb was 1,000 calories. And if I'm going to go, I'm going to try and share. I'm always looking at the menu the night before.
Okay. Yeah,
I was always doing that from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to sway whoever's chosen the restaurant that we're going to for the work. I'm trying to sway it towards something that's semi-healthy or somewhere where I know I'm going to be okay.
Texted them earlier in the week, like,
chicken
breast looks really nice. What do you think?
Yeah, or trying to say, why don't we just, why don't we go for sushi? And then someone goes, no, let's go for an Indian. I go, no, let's try the sushi. Because, again, can't gorge, can't binge on sushi, but you can go crazy at an Indian, right? So trying to pick the right restaurant was number one.
Yeah.
But if I couldn't do that, I was always looking at the menu anyway the night before. I'm figuring out what to have. Trying not to pick the fried stuff. So always trying to look for something that was quite lean, and then always abstaining from a dessert. Just keeping 1,000 calories there to play with. And on social nights out, that helps, and it still helps today. That's what I'm doing right now, where I am in my journey. But I'll be honest with you, right now where I am, and the calories have gone up, when I then have to go back to fasting or buffering, it's quite hard, but it's a mindset change. So I just, I go to, it sounds really stupid, but I go to sleep and I buffered today. I went to sleep last night going, right, this is what I'm having tomorrow for food. But Raj, we're buffering in the morning. So when you wake up, I will talk about sleep and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not eating, Raj. We're not eating. We're buffering in the morning. Because when you're tired and when you're sleep deprived, you're hungry. Your body tells you that you need food, which is false. And I learned that from you guys on one of the webinars. I think Nathan said that to me. And so telling myself the night before that, you know what, you're fasting tomorrow, get through to 1 o'clock, that kind of just helped, just to get me in that mindset.
Well, that segues nicely into sleep and the webinar, because on the monthly webinars, I think you came on and asked about what the strategy is for if you only get how many hours? 3, 4 hours, 5 hours?
At that time,
all unbroken, all broken.
Yeah, pretty screwed.
Talk about that.
I don't think anyone had a response for me. I think it was Hit then came on and just told me that he works from home and he can get a nap in. I was like, mate, I don't work from home. I can't get sleep in at work. Nathan had the best soundbite.
What was the problem first?
Okay, so my daughter was born in August. I started in December, so she was 4 months, and she had a lot of colic, so she wasn't sleeping very well in the first 3 months. She was very broken sleep for me. So obviously, we're trying to get into a routine. She's 4 months. I turn around to my wife and go, I'm going to go on this RNT'er thing. She obviously didn't know that meant, training and everything else that came with it. But sleep's massively important. And I couldn't, being the great guy that I am, I'm not going to let her wake up every night and deal with her. So I had a lot of broken sleep. It was... put her down at 10, she wakes up at 11:30 and then 2, and then it just plays with you. And having broken sleep is way worse than having, in my eyes, 4 hours unbroken sleep. 8 hours broken sleep is horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going through, and that was the hardest thing that I had to contend with, and I still contend with it now. Because in the morning you got to go to the gym and you got to train for like an hour and 15 and get it done. And you're on this diet that eventually would end up becoming a deficit. And that's the hardest bit. And I remember sending you some stuff from my app, that I had for my watch, and it was like 2.5 hours sleep on some of the nights. But I just had to get through it. But that was the hardest thing. And again, I look back on it, and that's just made me stronger. It's just made my willpower even stronger to get stuff done. And when I meet people now on RNT and they're like, I'm finding it really hard to train or get my steps in, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because I got all my stuff done and I got 2 kids under 3. To be fair, I'm a bit crazy for doing this right now with 2 kids under 3, right?
Yeah.
But no better time to start than now to get this to start the journey. But it's possible. But yeah. Sleep is the hardest thing because it's all to do with, it affects muscle recovery, it affects your mindset, and you wake up feeling that you need to eat and gorge on food because your body tells you need to. It tells you or tricks you into thinking that you're hungry, but actually you're just tired.
And that's what Nathan told you.
And Nathan said to me, he goes, you're not hungry. Your body's telling you it's hungry because you've not had enough sleep. And that was big. That was another kind of big win for me. Because naturally, if he hadn't told me that, or I wasn't with you guys, what would have happened is I'd wake up in the morning, I'll put a pot of masala chai on, I'd have a cup of that mixed with some toast, some biscuits, and then you end up, whacking back a lot of food that you don't need to do. And that's what used to happen before with the first child. So I got that quite quickly, and that helped me massively.
What advice would you give to other dads in similar situations?
The realness
outside
of
just sleep, yeah.
Outside of sleep?
Outside of just sleep, yeah.
Outside of just sleep, depending on what phase you are on, and when we ignore sleep and we look at, say, the fat loss phase for me, when the carbs went down and the calories overall went down, as you know, your energy, your mood, your persona all kind of comes down, right? And when you got a 3-year-old asking you the same bloody question 10 times, man, that chips away. You're like, it puts you on edge a little bit. Why, Daddy? Why? Standard stuff. That's quite difficult to contend with. And I've got another guy at work, my ops director on RNT, who's got a 4-year-old, and he's even telling me now that's starting to edge away at him. The other thing is, I think we talked about this a lot on check-ins, was weekends. So Monday to Friday, eating clean was very easy, or adhering to the diet plan. But when you take yourself out of your daily weekday routine, and this is with anyone, and you go to your weekend, it's always going to be different, right? With social events and just not having any kind of real structure ironed out. But mix that in with looking after the 3-year-old on a Saturday, which is predominantly what I do, and having her rucksack and trying to get her to eat her snacks, which are like not healthy snacks. They're like crackers and healthy crackers or oat bars, or let's go to McDonald's and get you a Happy Meal. And that happened a lot. You know, every 2 weeks, I take her to McDonald's, she gets a Happy Meal, gets her nuggets in, and you're feeding her, right? So you're feeding her a chicken nugget, you're dipping the ketchup, and you're like, come on, have this. And then she's not eating it, and she says she's full. Typically, as a parent, you just end up finishing the food, right?
Yeah.
So not doing that and abstaining from doing simple things like that sounds so funny and so stupid, but you know, that again, it eats into your or finishing her chips for her. And I've had this conversation with other parents on RNT that, you know, at home they find it really difficult to not cheat because there's a cupboard full of kids' treats in there that obviously you'd want as well. So what I would do at home is know that the treats are there, but not go anywhere near that cupboard or even attempt to open it because I know what's in there. Yeah. So abstaining from that. Standard things again, I know my willpower is going to be the strongest in the morning. So trying to get as much of the naughty stuff with that my daughter's going to be eating as well in the morning rather than evening help. And then again, when you abstain, for me it was a big thing. When I knew I could abstain and not be tempted by the treat cupboard at home, it just makes you stronger. You keep reminding yourself that I did that. And it just helps.
It's an identity shift in yourself.
Yeah. You need to recognize, in the journey, you need to recognize that you've done some pretty good things that you wouldn't have done before. And remember those things. Whether you journal them down or you just mentally remember them, you know, that gives you a lot of self-confidence and empowerment. What else can I tell dads? I think it's trying to be active. So I remember doing a lot of active stuff with her, especially in the holidays. So we would go into sort of zoos or towns or parks and do a lot of walking, or I'd be putting her in the buggy and pushing her around because she got tired with all the walking. And just being active, going swimming. So trying to do activities with the kids that are obviously, it sounds obvious, but they're going to get you outdoors, that are going to get you steps in. And again, I remember going to London Zoo over Christmas with her and doing like 12,000 steps on a Saturday. Obviously, half those steps she was doing was in a buggy, but I was pushing the buggy, so I was probably burning something there as well. But just being really active. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, you know, I'll get her an ice cream and I'd have I'd have it every now and then, a little bit of it, but never to the extent of where I would like order something with her because we were in MacD's and she's getting nuggets, so let's get a Big Mac as well because I'm here, why not? Yeah. It was never any of that, but that would have been the temptation, you know.
So you defied the dad bod then.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to we were speaking just before we got on air about 3 distinct phases you had during the cut.
Yeah.
You had phase 1, which was the honeymoon.
Correct. So it's all about...
Tell us about the honeymoon.
That was, you know, joining you guys, having taken the plunge after stalking Insta for the RNT feed for a number of months, understanding the food, the habits, switching what I was doing in the gym to what you had told me to do, and getting that muscle memory on all those new lifts. It was all enjoyable. and you start to see the weight creep down. Yeah, so there's an initial benefit, and it all becomes really sort of enjoyable and new and fresh. And the only thing that I had to really battle in that was the continual influx of rice, and at home eating chicken and rice and eggs in the morning. I remember for the first 4 to 5, whatever, however many weeks it was. It got tiring towards the end before we switched it up, but all in all, phase 1 was your typical kind of honeymoon phase.
Yeah, and then after that, you had a period. So we're talking December and January honeymoon, and then February you had a lot of trips coming up.
Yeah, so say 6 weeks from Feb onwards that's when it started to really push and challenge myself about this journey. And at this stage, remember, I hadn't even decided that I wanted to do a shoot. It was like a nice little airy fairy wish I had when I signed up to you that, maybe we'll do a shoot. Maybe. I think you wanted it. You obviously would want every,
I think you're pretty clear in your application form saying that I want to get 6-pack abs.
Okay.
You mentioned it quite a few times that I want 6-pack abs. I've been training, but I haven't had 6-pack abs.
Yeah.
You said it about 3 times.
Yeah. So getting to the shoot, I wasn't sure in myself if we could get there. So I went into February not really deciding on the shoot, and I had a corporate ski do, right? So through work, we were taken away, very fortunately, in France, and I love skiing. And on an all expenses kind of we'll look after you ski do, and here it's great food, great alcohol on offer if you wanted it. And typically, I was the only one on this trip that actually wanted to ski, because there were people that came on this trip that did about an hour of snowboarding and gave up and were like, we're just going to go to the bar. And you're around that environment, like people would have in the city, of people expecting you to drink and have a beer post or après ski. And that was, I remember we landed in Geneva before we transferred to the resort for one night. We landed, and all young dads know this, right? When you go on holiday with your kids, it's a completely different type of holiday with young kids. It's a different kind of holiday when you go on your own. In terms of just, you don't have to worry about buggies or luggage through security. You're on your own, and it's just a great time to be by yourself for a few days. And you miss home, but the first few days you're on your own and you love it. So we got to Geneva, and I'm like, right, what are we doing? Was there a gym in the hotel? Yes, there was. So we'll go to the gym. What time does it open? It's 24 hours. Okay, let's try and fit that in because I have to get my session in. Let's go walk around Lake Geneva for 2 hours, and let's just go and smash some steps because I was lacking the week before. So the guys who'd come on the flight with me, they all went to the hotel bar, and they were there from 4 onwards till about midnight. I went and smashed Geneva town centre, went around the lake and got my steps in. And that was the whole thing. So that kind of set me up for the week or the few days I was out there. And I kind of did not drink the whole time apart from the last night when I had a glass of champagne. We went to a place called Folie Douce. So the people that ski would know that in the Alps, they kind of have like if you've been to Vegas and you've been to a pool party, take that equivalent to the mountains in the winter where you've just got people dancing on tables on the mountains at lunchtime and getting smashed. And we had a table with magnums of champagne being ordered, and I was there with my Evian bottle, not wanting to be sprayed by champagne. And I did that. People were questioning me, go, why are you not drinking? Why are you not drinking? I just told them I'm not drinking right now. And they respected it. I wasn't great fun to be around, don't get me wrong. But I went on that trip and actually enjoyed my skiing. I buffered through the morning because I knew there would be a big lunch and I couldn't really account and try and do a meal plan, right? So I skipped breakfast, drank loads of water. I think I snuck in half a protein bar whilst I was on the slopes, ate at 1 o'clock, and I was fine. And I came back and I hadn't blown out. I was actually pretty good. And skiing naturally burns a lot of calories if you're skiing properly or you're spending enough time on the mountain. So that was quite good. The second part of sort of early March, I had another ski trip booked with my wife and my eldest. And that was obviously a lot easier to abstain from the drinking bit and the social pressures around it. But that's when I had started the weight was starting to drop off. And we had a discussion over on a check-in, and I was umming and ahhing about the shoot. And I said to you, look, let's do the shoot. And you said, right, yeah, let's do the shoot and let's book it now before you go away in March to make yourself accountable whilst you're away, which was the best thing you could have done. Or I could have done to get in that mind shift change for the grind. So we went away again in March, wife and the eldest kid, self-catered, which helped massively again because you're not succumbing to a breakfast buffet on holiday where you got tempted by, especially in France with all the breads and the muffins and whatnot. And that's when the abs were poking through. Yeah.
That's when the selfies start.
That's when the selfies and the douche behavior of lifting your top off when you're in a gym started. And I actually think some really good habits came about on that trip. That was the first time I've ever been on holiday where I didn't go to the hotel gym because the hotel gym was absolutely shit, and found a gym in the resort that the public used, the locals used. And I said, you know what, I'm not skiing this morning. I'm going to go to this gym because this gym looks amazingly epic and I want to go and smash my workout. And I was in there for like 2 hours whilst Lara was in ski school and my wife was skiing. And then I would go and pick them up at 1 after having done my gym session, ate with them. Lara goes to sleep for 2 hours. My wife's with her and I go skiing on my own for 2 hours. So naturally, I've just gone and done my training, and then I've gone and smashed my list, if not more, off the mountains. And, you know, the whole week I tried to eat as clean as possible. I buffered and, you know, I'd taken food from home because we were self-catered. I came home and I weighed myself, and my weight was exactly the same. I remember it was 63.7 or something. And I was like, wow, I've just been on holiday. And I've like, it sounds so stupid, and I've just kept the same weight. And I didn't take scales with me on this trip. Right. I hadn't bought the scales yet. So and there was no scales in where we were staying, and there was no scales in the gym. And I was getting a bit anal about what my weight was looking. And I kept, you know, looking in the mirror, looking at the eyes, going, oh, what's going on? I don't want to lose this. I came home and I was the same weight, and I was so happy. And I was like, right, this is again another little small win for me. I go, right, let's remember this. And let's carry this through to phase 3.
Go into phase 3 then.
Phase 3 is your grind, the so-called Vagella grind, where everything starts to get pushed. So, you know, it's important to note that during the first phase, I didn't take your whole steps thing seriously enough, right? I still thought, what was this whole steps thing about? And the theory and the actual what you would call the reason why you do it, the rationale behind doing steps. And then when we started to step it up, to go from 10 to 12.5 to 15, and then towards the end it was 17.5 and whatnot, that became difficult. Couple that with not just work, but broken sleep and dealing with the younger one, it became hard, but we got it done. And getting the steps in was hard.
How do you do it?
Again, it was someone from RNT'er. I think it was Akash, Desai. It was waking up. I was trying to wake up early. This is really funny as well. These things come back to me. So I remember taking the baby monitor downstairs into the garage. And I have this old treadmill that I got from work in the work gym that we used to have that I hadn't used for 2-3 years. It was covered in spider webs. And I was like, why am I going to go walk outside when I got this treadmill in the garage and I can put the iPad on and watch something? So I take the baby monitor down, creep out of bed, wife's still sleeping, try not making any noise and waking anyone up, put the baby monitor on, get on the treadmill, have my headphones on, but then every minute or every 2 minutes taking the headphones off to see if the baby monitor's, you know, got some noise on. And it was trying to get my steps in before the kids would wake up. And then, there were times when I would go downstairs, switch the treadmill on, and bang, she starts crying. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. You're just doing this to piss your dad off. And I couldn't get them in, and then it would have to be done. I would do some at work, so walking calls. So where I work in Watford, I could go out for 40 minutes from the office, go around sort of the block in Watford, so to speak, and get in 35, 40 minutes of walking whilst doing some calls. So that was like 4,000 steps there. And then doing it again at home post-dinner. And unfortunately not being very sociable at our post-dinner with my wife. But she kind of understood it. But it did piss her off while I was in the garage, just walking and walking and walking. But yeah, it was hard. Podcast helped.
Yeah.
And the RNT podcast, obviously. And when you're listening to people talk about their journeys and going through what you're going through, or have gone through what you're going through, it helps validate it. What phase 3 taught me, and will come on us in a big way, was the way people perceive you in phase 3, in the grind. Not so much the way, not just your behavior, but the way you look. Yeah. So remember, I was at 78 at my, before RNT, and then before I came to you, or when I started with you, I was at 71, maybe 72.
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't have a lot to lose. Yeah. People, when you look at me, I don't look like I need to lose weight. Or people would say that, right? Or any normal person would say, you don't need to lose weight. Why are you doing this? So they start to question you. You look fine, you don't need to lose the weight. Let's start at the gym. So I'm walking into the gym now. My confidence is sky high because I can see the weight dropping off. My guys at the gym that I know, that I've befriended over however many years, start to look at me and they're sort of saying you're wasting away. But I know that I'm starting to look every day I'm going in, I'm looking better and better aesthetically in the mirror. And that whole douche behavior comes out when you start lifting your top in the gym and see those abs come through. So all in all, in the gym, I'm walking into the gym thinking, and walking out of the gym thinking, I'm looking fantastic. Yeah, I'm getting better and better every day. Shower up, put your clothes on, get into work, and it's completely different. 360. People are telling you you don't look good. People are telling you look ill. Why are you losing the weight? You need to stop now. And it was all of that, all the stigma stuff that we've heard before. And that was the irony of it, because you're walking into the gym, pumping in the gym or doing a session, looking great, and you walk out the gym and then made to feel like shit because you don't look good. And that chipped away at me a lot. The sleep and the steps and being tired, yeah, but that's the grind, right? That's why you're doing it. It's, that, so to speak. What really started to hurt was, and even started in phase 2 when we were on the corporate thing, that people were telling me, well, if you're not drinking and you're not going to eat, why are you coming? Why are you coming on this trip? This is people telling me that I know. They're telling me as a joke. But that chips away at you because you almost feel like you shouldn't be there because you're not partaking in the normal behavior that's expected of you. And being told that, or questioned why you're going, that chipped away. But, you let it go. Then when phase 3 starts and you start telling me, Raj, your calories are coming down. We're going to drop your carbs, dropping your fat slightly, up your steps. When that happens, your mood, as you know, starts to wane. Your patience starts to wane. I was very short, very sharp at work and at home. I would get pissed off about the smallest little things. Decision fatigue becomes massively important in terms of something you want to try to mitigate because that can really piss you off if you can't get something. I remember food became an event. And if I'm having my lunch at work and I'm getting my veggies and I'm getting my chicken ready and I'm getting my rice ready and then I'm lining it all up and then someone comes and interrupts me to ask something about work, that would piss me off because I really wanted to enjoy that meal. I remember someone coming home and eating my meal prep.
Ooh.
Or having one of my meal preps. I had food for that day, but I remember someone else, and that really pissed me off.
Work?
at home.
Oh, okay.
So one of Minno's friends came home, or I think her sister came home, and she had my like fish and rice. I'm like, what?
Do you ever watch Friends?
Yeah, don't share the food to Joey.
No, Dad, but do you remember when Ross did it? Remember when Ross had it at work?
A sandwich.
The sandwich, he had a label on it and someone took it and he had anger management problems.
That really
was you, yeah?
That was me. That was me. And smallest things would piss you off. So that's all chipping away. And then I think 2 weeks from the cut, or the shoot, sorry, we had a work due that again I had buffered for, but you know, I'm running low. Yeah, I remember, I used to have meals and an hour later I was hungry.
Yeah.
And we went for this Italian in Northwood for this work due. And walk in, go upstairs, I've obviously lost a lot of weight off my face. Sit down, everyone's sort of, cracking a joke. Oh, Raj, gone to Baby Gap to buy your clothes because everything is not fitting as it would do normally. Sit down, and someone shouts out, "Oh, Raj, you can't have this!" And he was pointing at a breadstick. "Oh, Raj, you can't have this." Everyone's there from work. Everyone knows what I'm doing. Everyone cracks up. Everyone's laughing because this person who said that, I guess wanted to get a laugh out of everyone. "Oh, Raj, you can't have that." And then, you reach for something. "Oh, Raj, you're having that. You're supposed to be having that." As a joke. And I'm like swearing under my breath. Almost remember saying something really bad, but not trying to let that person hear it. And it was really getting to me. Anyway, got through dinner, got in the car. My wife, Minna, was with me in the car, and I just went off on one. And I just completely bitched to her about this person, about what they'd said to me. And I just was effing and blinding all the way home, almost like raged that people didn't understand what I was doing. The next day, I remember then I think I emailed you. You said, we spoke on the Saturday about it, and there was the whole stigma thing and people deflecting about their own bodies and how they felt about themselves. And that's all on your website. And you'd written an article, you pointed to me that, and I'd read it already, and I knew it all. But even despite me knowing it, at that stage of where I was, it really got to me.
Yeah.
And actually what I did on the Monday, and I work with this person, I went in on Monday and I said to them, I go, "Look, you said this to me on Friday night, just to let you know, it really got to me. And have you ever asked me like why I'm doing this?" So I explained to him my why. And it actually came out that he said, "You know what, Raj, I didn't know you felt like that. I'll stop saying those things." Because it wasn't just that day, it built up before. And he said, "I'm really in awe of what you're doing with yourself, and I wish I could do it. And I am really amazed." And I said, "You know what, you could do it." And we started talking. I said, "Look, why don't you get in touch with RNT?" Because he'd obviously been following RNT and knew what RNT were about, and he knew some people that were doing it. He goes, "Oh, my friend from school's doing it, and I've been talking to him, and I know he's doing it." I go, "Yeah, you can do it." And we were talking about 20 minutes, and in the end, he signed up. And that, in terms of the last hurdle and phase, it was like a brick wall. Because once I got that guy on my side, okay, that was like another win for me. That just empowered the whole thing and got me going, right, I can get this guy to join RNT. Yeah. Let's see how many more guys I can join to join RNT. But it was also, right, now that's out of the way, my mind is clear now. Nothing can break me like that. And nothing did ever break me like that again. And even now it doesn't break me when people say stuff like that to me who haven't seen me for a while. And that was it. And then we grinded to the end. You wanted me to get between, I remember asking in January, Akash, if I want to get to shoot level, what do I need to get to? 65, 66? You said, no, more like 61 to 63. And I said, wait, you serious? And you said, yeah. And I said, okay, maybe. And then, I got to 61.8 on shoot day.
Yeah, bang on.
I was bang on. Yeah. And, what it came down to, and this is what I miss about being that lean, I could do one set or something and I've got crazy vascularity and everything's popping, right? And you just looked good. Not sustainable, and we can debate about what the right weight was for me, but it was, I did look good. I'm happy with the results. Despite what anyone says about that, I was too thin or I looked ill or
you were shredded, man.
I was so happy with what I got, and it was way beyond what I ever imagined that I could achieve with you guys when I started. It was a wish and an aspiration to get 6-pack abs. I got 8-pack abs, and I had obliques that were popping. And it goes back, and let's go back to the gym, right? I walked into the gym come April, and I'd been training. Let's not forget, I was training, up until then quite regularly in the gym. So I knew a lot of people in the mornings, and I came back from skiing the second time, and people were coming up to me that I had looked up to or aspired to, and these guys were like 50, 55, and dad bods, proper dad bods, yeah, that were in crazy shape. They'd been training for years. And they came up to me and said, Raj, what are you doing? Because you look effing amazing. Tell me what you're doing and everything. Never one hint of criticism from them. All the guys were still saying, oh, Raj, you lost too much. You need to press more. I knew they were joking because they said, look, you look good. I had RNT clients that were in the gym that knew that I was doing the shoot or had done the shoot, were telling me, wow. I had PTs coming up to me in the gym, lifting my top up as a joke to see the abs. All of that, it gives you so much confidence that it got to a stage that, not that I felt that I knew what I was doing and I belonged, but I just felt, I've got everything that I wanted to and achieved from that to a place where I thought I could never get to. And one thing I forgot to mention was right from the beginning that we said we were doing the shoot, I told everyone, just to keep myself make myself more accountable. So whether it was a PT, an RNT client that I'd met, family, people at work, people asking me why I lost this weight, I told them I was doing a shoot. And then they would say, okay, let me see the photos. And then when the photos went up, it was the standard, everyone was like, wow. People were blown away by the photos, and a lot of people. And this is one of the most beautiful things about RNT is when you posted, your good old finger pic that went up with Sham. So many people I knew, either from my school days or whatever, from uni, said, "Oh, I'm with RNT. Like, I'm so happy for you. I'm doing this shoot, or I'm on this stage." Or I've lost this much weight. Can you help? What did you do for that? All that. I love that because I love to give back. And this is why we're doing it today. It's the same thing that as many people I can help today, if one person takes something good or one hack or one benefit out of what I have to say, it's worth it. And, the domino effect was from me doing the shoot was I had my uncle, a family member join. I had my ops director join. I found out that one of my cousins that I had no idea was on the journey with you guys, was on your journey with him, so I'm sort of like keeping up with him. My best friend, whose house I went to in the afternoon post-shoot, joined. And then people through work and clients that had seen me go through this journey have all inquired with you. So I don't know what your leaderboard is in terms of RNT referrals post-shoot, but I think mine are pretty high. And that's just all down to people just, and me just, either telling them what I've done and how I've done it, and then either being inspired or wanting to transform themselves. And that's like the most beautiful thing about this. And it all comes down to getting a 6-pack isn't the end all and be all. It's not the aesthetics that's the primary goal and focus in this. It's just one fortunate outcome, but the other benefits are so massive, as we know.
Amazing. If you haven't seen Raj's pictures, click the show notes for his full case study as well. So you can go check out.
We need to put the Ronaldo pic on there.
The Ronaldo picture will be definitely in it. That'll probably be a social media post in itself.
That will go up soon, yeah, the Ronaldo pic, which I think Sham picked up on. I wasn't great at the weight pic. I think it was more the lifestyle pics and messing about in the gym what came out nicer.
Yeah.
then your standard, let's do a deadlift kind of ready pose. It was good. It was a good day.
How did you find the shoot overall?
The shoot was brilliant. Sham was brilliant. I think the workout, it's a 2-hour workout. That's what it is.
It's not easy.
I was knackered. It's a 2-hour workout. But, as soon as you remember, you're taking your top off in a gym full of people just normally going about their business. So that again gives you a confidence that you can get to that stage. It was great. It was hard trying to pose, pop your abs and smile and look like it's effortless. That's quite hard. And it was a very emotional day. The whole last stage and that grind that we talk about it's very emotional, right? When your calories are down, your energy is down, your mood's down. And, particularly there were times, I think, I'm not ashamed to say it, but I was in tears at home because it got emotional, particularly when things were chipping away at me. And, I've done quite a lot of things that are quite intense on me, whether it's my MBA or studying or whatever. This was by far one of the hardest things that tests you. But I came out of it the other side, and, I think next year we'll cut again. Or whenever we finish the fluffy stage, I'll be ready for it. I'll be more educated on how to get through it. But the shoot, I recommend anyone get the shoot in. It's such a good goal and target to have. Really makes you accountable, and the day itself is fun. And those pictures now, you look back on it, and it's a checkpoint, as we know, but it's a lovely reminder of what you can put yourself through and achieve on the other side.
Yeah, it's such a good thing to look back on. It's a fun day, like you said, and it gives you a goal to then beat.
Exactly.
Because then you're like, okay, well, how can I make these photos even better? How can I get leaner next time? Or how can I look bigger, or whatever it is, whatever the goal is.
Get that right, and I look at my back pics, I look at your back pics, and I'm like, I gotta get to that stage. I need the Times Square Christmas tree, not the one that I got at home. It's exactly what you said.
So we've done the shoot, and then obviously it's the danger period.
Yeah.
Well, how did that go for you? I mean, obviously you had 2 weeks after the shoot, you had a 2-week trip to Disneyland, of all places. And Antigua. But how did you find the whole thing? Because you came out of it pretty well.
Yeah,
and you're in a good position right now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah, so I was quite fortunate because around the time of the shoot, there was a lot of content being released about the reverse phase and your Lord of the Rings analogy. I was listening to I don't watch Lord of the Rings, so all that stuff flies over me. But you guys are well into it, so let's just use that.
I think it came out, like that article came out like on the on your peak week or something ridiculous like that, right?
Yeah, it was perfect timing because in my mind, like most people, when I signed up for the shoot, when I signed up to RNT, I said, I want a 6-pack abs and then it'll be goodbye RNT. You made it quite clear from the podcast that it's a checkpoint that I embraced. So, it's just a checkpoint, top of the mountain kind of thing. And all the content that you'd come out with was great and it helped. I remember talking to you because I still don't know, and I didn't know at the time post-shoot what my blowout meal would have been, a conservative blowout meal. I didn't have a very good blowout meal because I went to someone's house and they fed me because we had booked it in as like a play date with the kids. Oh, yeah, and I ate just a load of just crap basically that was given to me, and I felt really shit when I walked out. So my tip would be planning a good kind of treat meal for that sort of half a day, one day that you're allowed. But then going back onto it, reading all the content that you'd put out. And I actually liked the reverse phase, particularly the first 2-3 weeks. And again, I remember emailing you going, I'm loving the Robocop vein arms, yeah? My brothers nicknamed them the Robocop arms because even my mum, I would walk in and my mum was like, look at your, Asuche, what is this on your arm? And it was just crazy vascularity post-shoot for 2 to 3 weeks. And, the calories and the carbs haven't gone up massively, but any food increase is welcomed at that stage. So every day you're feeling better and better about yourself. You're going in the gym and you're looking great, aesthetically, in terms of what you're lifting. Your gains haven't gone up just yet, but they're going to go up. And actually, it was quite good up until we went away, because I'm now going to Orlando for a week, and it's Disney, so you're walking a lot. So I knew that straight away, because you do a ton of walking when you're in the parks. But it's like, well, how am I going to contend with American food and portions and all that? And actually, it wasn't that hard, because I'd had those 2 wins over those 2 ski holidays when we were away. I had been on the second trip and found a gym for the locals in France that I use. So I said, right, 2 days before we flew, I went on TripAdvisor, go, right, let's go find a gym in Orlando, because I reckon this gym I'm in the hotel is not going to be great. And now I'm at a stage where I love going in a new gym that's not part of my routine, because if you allow yourself to go in and have a pump, it's so fun, or you make it part of your normal training routine. And if anyone's been to America, they love their gyms. And I found a gym in Orlando that was 20 minutes away, 24 hours, and it was just this crazy ass iron like paradise. It had like 4 machines for every single like lift you'd want. And because of the jet lag and because of the way it was, I was waking up at 4, driving to this gym, training till 6, getting a Starbucks drive-through Americano on the way back, and then setting myself up nicely for the day with like 10,000 steps, if not more. And I got all my training done in Orlando. I ate pretty conservatively. Again, I wasn't drinking stupidly. Maybe 2 drinks that week. And then Antigua was, because I remember we went away and I said to you, I'm going to take the week off and I'm going to deload. But in the end, I didn't deload. Yeah. I just smashed all my sessions, and then in Antigua, I just pumped for a week in the hotel gym, which was still pretty good. I was messing up on the monkey bars and the pull-up bars and all of that. Yeah. And I was just, again, getting my steps in, doing some cardio, but I was eating well in Antigua. Like eating too well, but eating well enough. The weight crept up, but then we dialed it back down when I came back home, and that was literally the end of the reverse. I came back and you said lifestyle weight 65, I was 65.8, 65.9, and then we dialed it down, and then now I'm trying to maintain this lifestyle weight of 65 through the summer, which I have to admit is pretty hard because I haven't got a goal. I've got no shoot, no wedding, no holiday, no stag, nothing like that. I'm just trying to maintain 65. But whilst I might not have the Robocop vascularity arms, I'm going to the gym and I'm lifting way more gain-wise than I've ever lifted before. And that in itself is just a massive confidence boost. And I'm going to argue with you in thinking that I've put on some muscle. I think I have anyway. I think I've put on 1.5 kilos or 2 kilos of muscle. But it's that beauty that if you get the reverse right, the first bit of the reverse is beautiful because you look brilliant and your calories are going up, but you just don't start gorging on everything that you see inside. Unfortunately, I've not done that, and I've not had the urge to do that. I've been quite controlled.
Yeah, you're only 3 kilos up, which is just over 3 kilos up, which is pretty damn good.
So today, 65 on the nose.
Yeah, so 3.2 kilos 8 weeks out, 8 weeks after. It's perfect.
Perfect.
What were you going to say? You remember?
No, I remember you kind of bollocked me the other week because I was getting lax on the steps and the food, and I was snacking and here and then. You just got to go back and remember what you did in the first phase and what got you there. And it's exactly what I did. So last night I went out for a walk for like 40 minutes with the dog, headphones on, and just got my steps in and did the same thing today. And you've just got to get into it. But that I can see right now, doing what I'm doing right now in your phase 5 is going to be, is the goal. It's the holy grail, is trying to maintain this lifestyle weight. Yeah. Or maintaining that is hard in itself with no goal. People underestimate how hard that is. Because you can have free reign on to eat what you like.
That's why you got to make it automatic.
Yeah. Put those habits in.
And we were talking a lot about precursors, and I think you're a big fan of them. What precursors do you have in your day that helps you stay in this lifestyle way?
So precursors in terms of obviously prepping what you're going to have the night before. And then telling yourself there's no danger in eating the same thing breakfast every day. And for me, I've got my set, unless I'm buffering, I've got my set breakfast plan. One of the best things I picked up from your podcast was Minal Patel's whole thing around, if you're going to cheat, it's got to be a bloody good cheat and make it an event and an experience. Or sounds crazy, but I remember talking about the donut analogy, and if she's going to have a donut, it's not a Krispy Kreme, it's going to be like an amazing donut.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm going to go and like have a nice meal or have a nice cake, it's going to be a really best cake. But also, what I've learned is it's a lot about the experience of eating there, which it sounds strange, but if you're eating the best goddamn cake from your favorite place as a takeaway and you're having it at home, but the kids are screaming and you've got work on or whatever, you ain't going to enjoy it. So what I've learned is, and we did this post shoot, I ordered all these brownies in and stuff, and I froze them.
Yeah.
Because one thing that you do when you're coming up to the end of a cut is you start thinking about all the food that you're going to eat, and then you start ordering it, and then you keep it ready.
That's a bad thing to do.
And you keep it ready, and you over order or you overhead yourself, and then in the end you feel like when you get there, you're like, I can't eat this. And that's what happened on some brownies that I'd ordered. And we froze. Which is
very nice, by the way.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing, I remember, is I put the kids to bed. I made my cup of tea. After they'd gone to bed, sat on my own in the kitchen, got the brownie out, and I ate it, and I enjoyed it. And that was a bloody good brownie, and I enjoyed it. And I said, right, Sunday I've had that. Back on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not a binge.
Not a binge. It's something that you enjoy. And I actually remember telling myself during the cut that I really wanted a pizza or something, but I didn't want to go with the kids. It sounds really simple. I didn't want to go with the kids and eat that pizza because I knew I wouldn't enjoy it as much as if I had it with my wife or even on my own when I just had time to enjoy it to myself. Yeah. So I think there's going to be a new thing in the next cut. If I'm going to go have a meal, I'm just going to go on my own in a restaurant, sit there, order it, phone off and just eat it and enjoy it and take it in. Because that's one thing I've learned with the whole food experience is enjoying the meal. And you guys talk about, chewing, stretching, and all of that. Completely agree. But also the manner in which you eat that meal and the environment you eat it, again, it massively plays on your mood and your personality, particularly when you're calorie down, deficit down. And that's a massive precursor. If you're going to have a good meal or a cheap meal, it's got to be an event and an experience. So that's again another thing that I learned.
And by having so many variables there that you have to have in order to have that meal, you're probably not going to have it all the time.
Exactly. You're not. The other thing that I learned quite quickly is it's still okay to eat the foods that you like during a cut, or go to the favorite places you like during a cut, but you need to know what you can eat and plan for it and dial it into your macros. So Nando's, even now I know that, if we want to go to Nando's, and I'm not going to be like the one to let the team down and say, no, I don't want to go to Nando's. I know I can go to Nando's and have a decent meal and still enjoy myself. I might drink 3 glasses of Diet Coke to blow myself, to fill myself up at the refill. And I remember doing that towards the end, but I can get away with the butterfly and the corn and the cob and the halloumi. And I still enjoy it. I don't walk out of Nando's thinking, shit, I didn't get to eat what I wanted to eat. And knowing what you can eat in certain restaurants helps massively. And then we've been talking over check-ins and emails about sweets and dark chocolates.
Yeah.
So
I introduced you.
You introduced me to dark chocolate. So I chucked all my protein bars out because actually I was eating it during the cut. They tasted brilliantly, as we know. your sense of taste kind of gets elevated and distorted during a cut. Now, I'm like, I don't want to eat this.
Yeah.
This doesn't taste as great as
It just tastes fake, doesn't it?
Yeah. But a couple of squares of dark chocolate with the black coffee goes a long way. Black coffee or a tall Americano with a bit of milk.
You try it with the oats?
No, I saw that. I'm going to do that.
That's what I do every day.
Okay.
Every afternoon, 2 squares chopped up nicely on top of the oats, spread out, and then I dip it in. It's like a whole little thing I do with it. Dip it in and I spread it. And it melts into it, right?
That is good. I've done that on, it just hits the spot, right? And it satiates you, and you know it's not as bad as whacking a protein bar with all the crap that's in it.
You can't have too much of it as well because you feel sick otherwise.
Exactly. And it's expensive for it. Yeah. Good quality anyway. But I'm buying dark chocolate like people buy wine. So I've tried all sorts. When we went on holiday, I bought some from America, brought it back. You know, you learn what's good. So anyone wants to shout.
I do the same. So everywhere I go, I'll buy a bit of dark chocolate and see what their local.
Okay, so the locals. That's what I do. That's what we should do. So American dark chocolate is shit, basically.
Yeah.
I can tell you that now if anyone's listening. So I think the game and the goal now is to find the ultimate dark chocolate in all of this. The other thing, actually, if we go on to like just tips and stuff, I never really embraced the whole measuring your umbilical. So I look back on my early check-ins. I didn't get that measuring tape off eBay until like week 7, week 8. Because I started to then feel the trousers get loose, but the weight wasn't dropping because I was recomping. So umbilical tells its own story in itself as opposed to the scale, as we know.
Yeah, you had a bit of a recomp moment, didn't you?
Massive.
You had
in the early
bit of a mind. Your mind was a bit messed up because your weight wasn't really going.
This R&D thing isn't working. Yeah, that's what. And it was the recomp. I kind of fit my journey in that phase fits exactly as to what was written in a lot of the case studies that I'd read, and what you had told me. So I was quite
different.
It's no different.
It's human, right?
Yeah,
we're humans.
Everyone thinks now.
Everyone thinks they're a special snowflake, right? They got some unique situation going on.
Yeah, I wasn't. So I kind of fit that. I'm sure there's other precursors that will come to mind, but
What's driving you now?
I want that Christmas tree, that Vagella Christmas tree. No. So right now, it's hard because there is no kind of goal in sight. And that's what's great about you is you're keeping me accountable. Because I could have quite easily slipped post-reverse. The gains right now is really kind of...
That's what we're focusing on now,
it's
right?
motivating me because you get off with leg press or chest press and you're like, wow, I can't believe I lifted that. And I've not lifted that at all, pre-RNT, even at 70 plus weight, which tells its own story. So that's massively beneficial. And it's just, again, I've made myself so accountable to the people around me because people know I've done this weight loss thing. People know I'm with RNT. People know I've done the shoot. So if Raj goes and starts binging on shit and starts putting the weight back on, I look like a complete tool.
Yeah.
So keeping myself accountable to everyone around me now and making this a lifestyle is the number one driving goal in this. And craving, again, going back to the why, craving the diabetes and setting the path up for my kids, that to me is a...
If you have to give one tip to anyone starting their journey now, what would it be?
Trust your coach. Your coach knows what they're doing. Don't even question what the coach says in the first few weeks because I did that like many people did and couldn't believe the diet or the steps. And now I'm not going to do the steps. Yeah. You've got to, with anything you do like this, what you put in is what you're going to get out. Whether that's a check-in, whether it's doing the diet plan or your steps, you've got to put the time and effort in. You'll get so much more out of it. So number one tip is you starting is trust the coach, trust the journey and the process.
Perfect. Let's finish up on some rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you got this big treat meal that you've planned with your wife. Your kids are at home.
On my own, yeah.
You're on your own, or you're with your wife. Okay, let's just say you're on your own. Yeah?
Okay.
You got this solo meal. Where you go?
This is such a hard one. I've thought about it. It's such a hard one. I've still got this dream. You can come along with me on this meal. Pizza Parlour, Ealing Road. Parlour special, half an hour. I don't have any, and chili chip. That's like a massive carb meal.
So was it pizza?
It's a pizza, yeah.
Okay, so half what?
No, it's a Pizza Parlour. It's a Pizza Parlour thing, but it's just a veggie pizza.
Okay. It's not a fancy pizza then.
No, it's not. But this is the thing: is I know. You know what the weird thing is? I'll turn up there and I'll be like, I don't want this. I'll just be like that, and it's just a complete conflict. But right now, that's the meal that I've dreamt up that I'm going to go have.
You haven't had it yet?
I haven't had it yet.
Okay.
I haven't been able to ditch the kids and the wife yet.
What's the best book you've read this year?
Haven't read a lot of books because I've been walking a lot.
Okay, let's say 3 years then.
3 years. Well, let's focus on. Let's say book-wise, it'd be the Porter book on strategy. So it's a business book. Michael Porter, Understanding Competitive Advantage. So it's a Harvard professor who's basically the godfather of business strategy. I actually got a very good Audible book again off Dick Sersha's podcast.
Which one? Dave Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm halfway through that on the headphones. That guy's bloody mental.
Dave Goggins.
Yeah, it's mental.
Okay.
Running on broken legs and things like that. But stuff like that, real life cases, anything like that, I love reading about or listening.
Why is the business one up there? Do you want to give some background about your business?
Yeah, so I work for a family business. I was in the family that I'm in. I've done various sources in the family business around commercial ops and now innovation. But that Michael Porter is the founding father of strategy that's been well respected within business school or just general business life, and in the way in which companies try to set themselves up to be different and have competitive advantage, but then also not realizing that others are doing certain things to make themselves competitive advantage and then getting left behind. But it's just a wonderfully written strategy and model around how businesses set themselves up, which I like reading about.
Yeah, brilliant. Who should we have on the podcast next?
Everyone said The Rock, right? So we've got to get The Rock on. Let's sign this petition up.
Okay.
Can't get
someone else.
That's big pressure. Actually, there's a few people that I know that train at the gym that I'm at. One of them is a lady called Hanley Signori. She's 50. Her motto is 50 is the new 30.
Okay.
She's number 1 in the world for Spartan racing in her category.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's just this machine. And people like that, pre-RNT, were like inspiring me to say, well, if someone can look like that when they're 50, I want to be like that when I'm 50. For my kids and for everything else. Because if they can do it, why can't I do it? And now she came up to me, because she hadn't seen me for a while, she came up to me and she was so happy for me. And she was talking to me and wanted to know about my journey. But she'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool one. Someone a bit different.
Yeah. A lady as well. Because,
you
know, I think it's good for the female listeners as well.
For sure. Any parting words?
No, RNT. Oh, okay. This is my parting word. Every guy, and this is for the guys out there. Every guy needs an outlet. Okay. Particularly those that are married and have kids, you need an outlet. You need something to blow off steam. So I believe it's only sustainable when you have kids, a young family, wife, a busy work schedule. You need to have one outlet that you can go to. Can't have 2, 3, 4. It becomes unsustainable, unmanageable, and you can't balance everything. For me, going to the gym was that. Also going to watch football, riding motorbikes, all of that. But I couldn't manage all of it. this has by far become the non-negotiable outlet that I have, and people have respected that. And I thank you for giving me that, and the RNT family, because I have work, I have home, I have Minnow and the kids, and I have training, RNT lifestyle. And that to me is what I'm grateful for and lucky to have. And I would urge all guys that are turning around and saying, you know what, and even ladies, they're saying I can't do it, or I can't get this in, I can't get my training. It's fine, but you know what, something's got to give. Yeah, go back to your why, go back to understanding why you're doing this, and then you'll make it work. But remember, you can only have one.
Yeah.
And make this your one, and make this your one outlet, your one why, reason to do, whether it's, you know, your training and your diet and your RNT, the whole thing. You can do that, because that, to me, by doing this, the benefit that spilled over to other aspects of my life has been massive. Can't quantify it. So yeah.
When did you realize it can only be one?
When I started to go to the gym a lot more regularly, because
you just couldn't balance everything.
I couldn't balance it. So to give you a bit of background, I know we're kind of towards the end of the pod, but I had so through my life I've done lots of various things and interests. I've DJed through uni and I've been on radio. I've went and said to myself, you know what, I want to go ride a Harley one day. So I went and did my motorcycle test and went and bought. I had 2 Harleys before the kids, so when the kids were born, actually. I did an MBA during work, whilst I was working, so a part-time MBA. And all of that, you realise that all's very time-intensive, just like the RNT training and the journey is. And you can't do everything. So when the kids came along, I can't ride the bike anymore because my weekends are gone, and also in the back of your mind you're thinking, I need to be there for the kids, this is a little bit dangerous. The bike went. MBA finished, and that was a lot of time emotionally invested and physically spent doing that. That went. So I had a lot of free time. Playing football, brilliant, once a week, but you know, you get injured or it's not an ongoing regular thing. And going to the gym started to become that outlet that I could go to, that Minnow was understanding that I'm going to the gym, but then I'm not doing lots of other things like going to the football or basically going out drinking that or social, and that wasn't what my game. I had the gym, and then you started to realize this becomes a non-negotiable. You fit everything else around it, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's when I realized some people have cricket. You know, they play a Sunday league or football, or they play for their cricket team on a Sunday, and they love it and they enjoy it. So your outlet's got to be something that you enjoy, obviously. And this is what I'm enjoying right now. And this whole journey, the RNT thing, has become part of that. And it's remained a non-negotiable. And you know, the whole goal and the aim is for that to remain as a lifestyle.
Amazing. If you enjoyed today's episode with Raj and you feel like you can relate to his story, please send it to your family and friends. For more information, please visit www.rntfitness.com and follow us on Instagram at rnt_fitness. Thanks for coming, Raj.